Pack your things. The office smelled like disappointment and fresh printer toner. Fitting, since I was about to be terminated by a man who still thought PDFs were witchcraft. Pack your things, Dad ordered from behind his mahogany desk, the one he'd inherited from Grandpa along with the company and the belief that blood meant more than competence. If you won't give your sister your promotion, you're out of this family company. I looked at him, really looked at him, for what felt like the first time. Walter Brennan, CEO of Brennan Medical Logistics, wearing a suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent and an expression that said he'd never once questioned whether he deserved any of it. The promotion I earned. I asked, my voice steady as my hands pulled personal items from my desk drawer. The one I worked 60-hour weeks for 3 years to get. Your sister needs it more, he said, like need and want were interchangeable when it came to Madison. She's getting married. She needs the salary increase. I placed my coffee mug in a box, the one that said World's Okayest Employee, a secret Santa gift from someone who'd clearly never seen my performance reviews. Madison doesn't even work in operations. She's in marketing. She doesn't know the difference between a supply chain and a bicycle chain. She'll learn, Dad said with the confidence of someone who'd never had to learn anything because it was all handed to him. Family supports family. I packed slowly, methodically, each item deliberate. The photo of the team I'd built from nothing. The certificate of excellence I'd earned while Madison was on her 3rd gap year finding herself in Bali. The stress ball shaped like a brain that I'd squeezed through every meeting where Dad credited my ideas to the team or, worse, to himself. Then his phone rang. The caller ID lit up, Diane Chen, HR Director. Dad answered with his fake pleasant voice, the one he used for people who could cause him problems. Diane, what can I? Even from across the desk, I could hear her voice, clear and sharp as a scalpel. About those signatures you forged. His face went from confident to confused to catastrophic in the span of 3 seconds. A personal record. I don't know what you're. The promotion paperwork for Madison, Walter. The forms that required board approval. The ones with signatures from board members who were apparently in Aspen, Tokyo, and deceased, respectively. I kept packing, but now it was evidence, not belongings. The USB drive taped under my keyboard. The backup drive hidden in the fake succulent. 3 years of emails, documents, and recordings that I'd started collecting the day I realized being good at my job would never matter as much as being born second. My name is Julia Brennan, and I'm 32 years old. I've been with Brennan Medical Logistics since I was 22, starting in the warehouse while Madison was failing out of her 3rd college. I worked my way up through shipping, inventory, operations management, until I was running the entire East Coast distribution network. Madison joined the company last year, after her Instagram influencer career peaked at 3,000 followers and Dad decided she needed direction. This is a misunderstanding, Dad was saying into the phone, sweat beading on his forehead like condensation on a cold glass. It's fraud, Walter, Diane's voice continued. Julia brought extensive documentation to my attention an hour ago. Forged signatures, nepotism violations, and this is interesting, embezzlement. Apparently, Madison's marketing budget has been funding more than campaigns. I pulled out my personal laptop, making sure Dad could see me copying files. Legal files. His files. The ones he thought were hidden on the shared drive only executives could access, not knowing I'd been the one to set up that drive 5 years ago and still had admin privileges he'd never thought to revoke. Julia. Dad barked, covering the phone. What did you do? My job, I said, continuing to pack. Which includes reporting irregularities to HR, page 47 of the employee handbook. The one you signed off on but never read. He tried to hang up on Diane, but she was already transferring him. Walter, this is Jim Patterson from Legal. We need you to remain in your office. Don't delete anything, don't remove anything, and definitely don't try to contact any board members. Dad's phone slipped from his hand onto the desk with a thud that sounded like a gavel. You're destroying your family, he said, his voice smaller now, deflated. No, I'm documenting it, I corrected, holding up a folder. Like when you hired Madison at a salary 20% higher than mine despite her having 0 qualifications. Or when you gave her the corner office I'd been promised. Or when you changed the promotion requirements specifically to exclude me after I'd met all the original ones. That's business. That's discrimination, I interrupted. Based on the fact that I wasn't your favorite. Which would be fine if this wasn't a publicly traded company with shareholders who might be interested to know their CEO has been playing favorites with their profits. The door opened. Madison burst in, designer heels clicking like a countdown timer. "Daddy, HR just called me in for some kind of meeting." She saw me packing, saw Dad's face, saw the writing on the wall even if she couldn't read it. "What's happening?" "Your promotion just got interesting," I told her, placing the last of my things in the box. "Turns out when you sign for company credit cards and use them for Botox, that's fraud. When Dad covers it up, that's conspiracy. When you both do it using forged documents, that's federal." "You're lying," Madison said, but her voice wavered like her fake eyelashes. I pulled out my phone, showing her the email I'd sent to the entire board an hour ago. Subject line: urgent, compliance issues requiring immediate action. Attached, 247 pages of documentation. "Fun fact," I said, standing with my box. "Remember when you told everyone at the Christmas party that I was just jealous of your success? You were being recorded. The company records all official events for training purposes. Your success speech where you literally admitted Dad gave you the position because, quote, family comes first, qualifications come second. That's Exhibit A." Security appeared in the doorway, not for me, but for them. I recognized Tom, the head of security who'd always been kind to me, probably because I was the only executive who knew his kids' names. "Ms. Brennan," Tom nodded to me. "You're free to go. Mr. Brennan, Ms. Madison Brennan, please remain here." "I'm calling our lawyer," Dad said, reaching for his phone. "With what authority?" I asked. "The board suspended you both 15 minutes ago. Didn't you check your email?" "Oh wait, IT just suspended your access. My suggestion, actually. Learned that from you. Always protect the company assets when there's a threat." I walked toward the door, then paused, turning back to look at them. Dad shrunk behind his inherited desk. Madison, teetering on heels bought with embezzled funds. "You know what the saddest part is?" I said. I would have helped Madison succeed. Trained her, mentored her, made sure she earned her place. But you couldn't stand the idea of her having to earn anything, could you? And now she never will. "Where will you go?" Madison asked, trying to sound confident but mostly sounding scared. "Palmer Industries," I said, savoring the way Dad's face went from pale to transparent. Palmer Industries, their biggest competitor. They've been trying to poach me for 2 years. I kept saying no out of loyalty to family. But family loyalty is apparently a one-way street in the Brennan household. "They'll never take you after this." "They doubled my salary to get me," I interrupted. "Turns out, when you actually know how to run operations instead of just inheriting them, people value that. Plus, they were very interested in my non-compete clause. You know, the one Dad never had me sign because he couldn't imagine I'd ever leave. Oversight on your part. Opportunity on mine." Tom stepped aside to let me pass. In the hallway, employees were gathering, pretending to work while obviously eavesdropping. Some looked shocked. Others, the ones who'd been here long enough to see the pattern, looked satisfied. "Julia," Diane Chen called out, walking toward me with a document. "Before you go, I need you to sign this." It was a whistleblower protection form. I signed it with Dad's Mont Blanc pen, the one I'd grabbed from his desk while he was panicking. Petty. Yes. Satisfying? Absolutely. "The forensic accountants will be in touch," Diane said quietly. "Your documentation is thorough." "I learned from the best," I said, loud enough for Dad to hear. "He taught me to always keep records. He just never thought I'd keep them on him." As I walked through the office one last time, co-workers started clapping. First one, then another, until the entire floor was applauding. These people, the ones who'd watched me build the department, who'd seen me solve crisis after crisis while Madison took credit for my solutions, they knew. Outside, my car was already loaded with everything important. I'd been preparing for this for months, ever since Dad first mentioned Madison needing a promotion. Hope for the best, plan for the worst, document everything, the holy trinity of corporate survival. My phone buzzed. The Palmer Industries CEO saw the news. "Your office is ready whenever you are. Take your time. Oh, and we're very interested in that supply chain optimization system you developed. The one your father claimed didn't work." I sat in my car, looking back at the building where I'd spent 10 years trying to prove I was more than just the unfavorite daughter. Through the 5th-floor windows, I could see the conference room filling with board members, lawyers, and what looked like federal investigators. Madison had wanted my promotion. Dad had wanted my obedience. They'd gotten neither. Instead, they got what they'd earned: consequences, served with a side of forensic accounting and a federal investigation chaser. I drove away, leaving behind a box of family photos in the parking lot trash bin. Some things weren't worth packing.